Telling someone you have a high IQ is a very low IQ move. It's like saying you're really pretty, other pretty people just shrug and the uglies all want to murder you. Don't know what you mean. I got a perfect 100 on my IQ test. I'm so smart. Having a high IQ and using a high IQ are two very different things. I have no idea what my IQ is. People who boast about their IQ are losers. Stephen motherfucking Based Hawking. I've always found it curious that people are allowed to say they're thick, even if they're clearly not, but they're not allowed to say they're intelligent, even if they are. However, inversely, it's acceptable to call someone else intelligent, but not thick, regardless of the actual truth of the matter. I did an online test and it was 170. I'm just waiting for the $100 certificate I paid them for. Oh yeah? Well, I have a low IQ. Super low. So low. How am I typing? It's so low. I'm going to start telling people I have an IQ of 70. That way they'll be really impressed with how well I do with such a low IQ. A stupid person will believe they know everything. A smart person knows they know nothing. The problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence. Charles Bukowski. Not really, you can have a very high IQ and still be quite the dumbass. IQ measures your ability to pass IQ tests. And it correlates in an unclear proportion with some skills like math, but everything else is not really measured by IQ. That's why I usually start with people have told me. If it somehow gets brought up, because I also think they're full of shit. High IQ is an interesting topic. My grandfather is a member of the 999 Club. He has been tormented by depression and other mental issues his whole life. He says it's pretty common with people like him. There is also research done that shows the same thing. Also, it depends on the situation. Job interviews that have a ton of competition, if you put down you're a Mensa or 999 member, it will help you beat out the competition. But I agree, if you're just bullshitting at a bar or whatever, it's a bad look. The only people who do this are those who are insecure about people thinking they are stupid. The only people who brag about how rich they are those who are insecure about people thinking they are poor. If someone tells me their IQ, I instantly know two things. 1, they have no real accomplishments. 2, their IQ. I've never understood the existence of Mensa. Why do the high IQ people need a club? Especially when they say, my IQ is over 140, you stupid liberal snowflake 11Q. Yeah, okay pal. IQ doesn't mean shit until the individual actually applies themselves. Knew plenty of kids in high school that had high IQs, and a good chunk of them were simply wrapped up in vices that prevented them from really doing anything. Gamers, for instance, have higher IQs than non-gamers, but because they generally focus on applying that to what is effectively a simulator or a world filled with puzzles, it doesn't correlate to real-world usefulness. Best to just treat it as what athletes call talent or bodybuilders call genetics. If it's squandered, it means nothing. This your low-key way of telling us you have a high IQ? I've always thought of this discussion as book smarts vs street smarts. You can't put all your attribute points on one side, or you're still stupid. The valedictorian of my class was my pizza delivery guy last night. I'm too afraid to get my IQ tested measured. Currently I'm in a quantum state and I love-hate it. But they had their IQ measured when they were too young and then never repeated the test as adults, and they think their number is constant and that the fact they were smarter than an average 5-year-old at 5 years means they're smarter in their 20s 30s than an average 20-30-year-old. FFS, how can you flex with something you don't know how it works? I had a woman who was interested in me, but the instant she said she was a Mensa member and brought up her IQ, then asked me to take an IQ test, I peaced out. To be fair, I only bring it up to highlight exactly how much of a dumbass I am. You'd think someone who scored a reasonable 3 digits wouldn't say, "Well, look at that neon yellow Mustang," as they continue to walk in front of the car. Found out in one swoop that my WISE 4 IQ is 139 and I have ADHD inattentive type. Nothing like being a genius with a learning disability. It's more like a low EQ move. There's plenty of assholes who are smart, but have no idea how to behave. A lot of our intelligence-based tests highly revolve around pattern recognition, but have almost nothing to do with interpersonal relationships. Both take intelligence, just a different kind of intelligence. Interestingly, people on the autism spectrum excel at recognizing patterns. The quality of shower thoughts have taken a nosedive. Telling someone else you have a high IQ is not a very low IQ move. Saying I have a high IQ may be tacky, or corny, or unwarranted, or presumptuous. But in no way an indicator of a low IQ. Face with tears of joy, can't agree more, for my fellow Taiwanese who also see this post. Unless you did a real IQ test the day before and you have results. How about someone calling himself a stable genius who knows the best words? I'm dumb as a donkey, but I smashed my IQ test. It's not that hard to see patterns. Opposite is not true. I tell people I'm dumb as shit all the time, and they believe me. Wait a sec, that's exactly what someone with a low IQ would say. What if your third grade teacher told you your IQ test results? I know, this probably wouldn't happen today, but in the 1970s this was more common. What if you didn't discuss it, not until the day that some jackass classmate of yours asked you what your IQ is? What if you answered truthfully, providing the number that your teacher told you? IQ is hardly a measure of intelligence. I've been told I have a high IQ, and I'm dumb as a burlap sack full of tempered iron sledgehammer heads. No handles. Just the heads. False. Telling someone you have a high IQ is a very low EQ move. I believe most but not all of course truly intelligent people don't make statements that change the dynamic of conversations to make others feel uncomfortable or inferior. The reason, people of high intelligence tend to be keen listeners and always looking for solutions to problems or new problems that need solutions. To be honest though, I'm not considered particularly intelligent, so this is just my opinion based on my personal experiences with people. I have a 148 IQ and spend most of my days smoking weed and trying to figure out what my employees actually mean. Life's weird and honestly a trained monkey could do my job better. I learned one big lesson as a kid that I've carried ever since. Never let people know how smart you are, because once people find out you're smart, they will either try to take advantage of you, or they will hate you for being smarter than them. It's better to just play dumb or to be the person who can help find answers, even if that means pretending you don't know something when you actually do, than to be the person with the answers. If you're going to brag, or make claims that seem unlikely or outrageous to most people but are true, say it in a facetious way. People think you're playing the fool or putting them on. It's kinda fun. There's a correlation between high IQ and poor EQ. There's also a correlation between low IQ and poor EQ, for what it's worth. Therefore, people with high IQ are more likely to not be aware of what is socially acceptable. Which means they're probably more likely to mention that they have a high IQ. Ironically. Not really, it is an egotistical and not self-aware move though. Some people with high IQs will tell you because they have a big ego about it. Wait. So, aha. I have a very low IQ. Wait. Correction: telling someone you have a high IQ is a low EQ move.